Good day, Calgary Catholic, and welcome to the presentation, Jump Math in the Classroom. My name is Bev Dutton, and I am part of the new curriculum implementation team working under the direction of Dr. Lynn Leslie, the supervisor of new curriculum implementation. I am the consultant in the area of math supports. I'd like to start by saying thank you for all the hard work that you are doing in your classrooms. We know that it has been an extremely busy time in education, and it is our hope that these resources that have been provided to you will have allowed you to have some opportunities to explore and try a couple of lessons out. Please know that we are here for you as we navigate this new curriculum. So let's take a look at what the presentation is all about. In this session, I'd like to talk about what is Jump Math, the resources that are available to you, and a little bit about lesson planning with JUMP. So what is JUMP? JUMP stands for Junior Undiscovered Math Prodigies, and it was created by Dr. John Mighton. So we're going to go to the next slide and have a little listen from Dr. John Mighton himself.
The widespread myth that there are only certain people born to do mathematics has done just infinite damage, whereas the evidence suggests that kids are all born with the ability, almost universally, unless they have very severe learning disabilities. The bell curve that we've created, I think, is a social creation, an absolute illusion. John Mighton at Jump Math and the Fields Institute. I'm a mathematician and founder of the charity Jump Math. We haven't gotten at one of the deepest root causes, and that's the idea that all educational systems across the world are founded on that there's a natural difference between kids in any given subject, particularly in mathematics and the sciences. So if you've got a class where 2/3 of the kids feel they're inadequate and are not really engaged, you couldn't devise a more efficient way of shutting kids' brains down. It's medieval. We could not have devised a smarter way for producing a bell curve than what we do now. And that's what we're trying to fight against in JUMP. It just breaks my heart when I see kids who have this incredible potential and ability constantly being given the message that they're not smart or capable, that the world isn't really that interesting, that it's not something they can understand. We shut down that part of the imagination, that part of kids' engagement in the world very early. So we would think kids were stunted if they didn't see any beauty in a mountain or a star. We think it's totally natural that they see no beauty in the invisible laws that underlie nature and all the incredibly elegant symmetries and connections. If you actually teach making every effort you can to minimize the hierarchies in the class, to always let weaker students shine, to scaffold the lesson so that, if you have to, you can take the simplest step, and to create bonus questions that don't have too much new information so faster kids can work independently. If you just take account of those principles, then we've done studies that shown that within weeks, weaker kids start becoming the faster kids in the class. One of the most inspiring things I've seen, I went to London, England, and I was invited to do a demo in an inner city school that was a very violent school. The kids, the very bad fights, and they put 30 of the worst behavioral kids into one class for me. I got off the plane and walked into this classroom, and the very first lesson I didn't condescend to the kids, even though I knew they were quite far behind. I did a lesson on binary codes, on how computers read codes. And the kids went nuts. They thought they were little code breakers. They wanted longer and longer questions. They figured out really amazing things about how the codes work. On the third lesson, when I came in with the teacher, the kids cheered. They were so happy to be showing off and solving puzzles, using their minds, and not being condescended to. They recently did quite a large study where they tracked hundreds of kids who were 2 years behind grade level, and after just 1 year of intervention, they got 60% of them passing the national exams when they expected 0% to pass. I've seen over and over again how quickly you can narrow the gap between students and get students deeply engaged in mathematics. My dream really in the JUMP program, and the dream of the teachers we work with, is that kids who are born with this infinite curiosity, this love of solving puzzles and exploring patterns, that they can engage in that just without any fear and really enjoy and love mathematics.
So with what Dr. John Mighton has said, he created the program so that it became very scaffolded and it can be implemented in your classroom with all of your students. Having the students using manipulatives and group work and independent practice to help them gain the confidence as a math learner. So, what is Jump Math classroom materials and assessment practice books that they have? So, I'll be going into detail in this, and it is just a note here that when you've chosen Jump Math to use in your classroom, it is highly recommended that you take the Jump Math courses that are offered online, as well as the ones that we are providing through the district. On YouTube, you can also type in Might and Math Minutes and watch John chat with you about Jump Math. We also have links on Math EPD site under the Jump Math Supports tab under New Curriculum, as Shelley Gartner has done an amazing job linking all of the supports. And Shelley is our elementary math curriculum consultant. The Jump Math website requires you to create an account. So this is one of the digital connections that you'll find that we have been able to provide for you. To get started, you'll need to go to the website and use the password Alberta for English, or that is a small l, lowercase l, apostrophe, uppercase A, Alberta for the French access. You'll be able to get in and create your own account, and then you'll be able to go to the Resource Center and scroll down to Teacher Resources. Once you click, it will take you to the page where you can enter in the grade for your materials and lesson plans. You'll also find PowerPoints and support packs there for you. I do know on the French side that they are limited with some of the PowerPoints that they may have, and you'll be able to download what you need. So I'm going to just go ahead and do that. We're going to click in for access and go to the Resource Center. Now I've already created my account and it logged me in. So down below, we have the educator tools and we have the teacher resources. So there's also professional learning. If you click on the professional learning, that will give you the webinars that are offered by Jump Math in our area. There's also free ones, free sessions that you can take online. So I'm going to click on teacher resources. And then down here, this is where you're able to find the downloads that you might need. So I'm going to go with grade 1. And you can choose a section if you'd like. So maybe I want to do Unit 2 number sense. And then I'm going to say filter. So it comes up with all of Unit 2 and all of the lessons that I would need to download. And right now, waiting for your teacher resource guides, you can come here and you can take a look as well. So I'm going to just go ahead and download to show you what it would look like on your screen. So here we have the lesson itself and all the pages that are needed. So this is a 3-page lesson and it goes through and you're able then to print that off. So I'm going to jump back here and jump back to the slide presentation. Another digital access point for Jump Math resources is through the new learnalberta.ca site. Now, when you log in, you have to actually log in to get the downloadable resources. You'll know that you're not logged in correctly if this is not a green open lock. If you're going through the resources and taking a look at everything and it stays red, that means that you don't have the correct login. So just make sure you log in and then you can download the resource. We will throw caution out there. This site is a bit difficult to navigate, as if you type in Jump Math into the filter, you'll still get other math resources and you'll be scrolling and scrolling for a while. So when you do find what you need, we ask you to really take caution because when you go to view the resource on some of the units, it's actually downloading the entire teacher resource guide, which is about 1,200 plus pages. And so if you're printing and then you just go to print, sometimes you're printing 1,200 pages getting sent to your printer. So we just ask that you print carefully. And the best way to do that is Microsoft to PDF, because then you can choose which pages you would like to print. Now, we also have the JUMP resource available with links on our Google site, which I'll show you. And you can click on the different links to gain access again through that JUMP website. Okay. The other digital connection that we have is through our Math EPD site that Shelley Gartner has put together. And she has given a section called JUMP Math Resource Support. And that is available through the new curriculum by clicking new curriculum, and you will see the JUMP Math Resource Support. And this is exactly what it looks like. Underneath there, I'm going to draw your attention to the new table of contents, as well as the correlation to the 2022 Alberta curriculum. And it's really important that for your grade, you print off the correlations and the new table of contents so that you are actually looking at what the new curriculum outcomes are. And they've got it laid out really, really nicely for you. The other thing that you can do too on the Math EPD, again, you can access the JUMP Math website, again, through the site. The next one that I'm going to draw your attention to is our digital connections through our NCIS Google site. And you can access it by clicking on bit.ly/NCIS-site, and we'll take you there because I'd like to show you how we've organized it all. So it has loaded up, and you'll find that this took me to resources when I clicked on the picture. If I clicked on the site, it would have taken me to the home page, which looks like this. And it's got some updates and new stuff that is there, timely information. Now, one thing I will say is we are not providing JUMP Math for kindergarten. We are only providing the JUMP Math access through grade 1, 2, and 3 this year. And it was a choice that you could have for yourself. So here we would go to resources and click on resources. And we've got ELAL as well as phys ed and wellness, physical education and wellness. So I'm just going to scroll down to the JUMP Math section. And here we've provided you with the video that when we first started way back in August, that you can go and take a recording, watch the recording with Gail. She is the Alberta rep, Gail James, and she also has some webinars that she's put on through the website, and they are listed here. So you can register here. Again, access to the website for yourself. And there's also Math Minds. There's a free course through the U of C with a partnership with Jump Math. And of course, RPG opportunities through our PowerSchool Professional Learning or upcoming, they might be on there. You can find them under NCIS-PG, which is right up here. And with the Jump Math, I do have a session coming up in December on the 14th. It is full at this time, but you can put yourself on the wait list because as we know, things can change and there can become an opening ready for you. So I can contact you at that point if you're on the wait list and be able to provide a guest teacher for you to come and learn Jump Math that day. All right, so we're going to take a head back over to the slideshow and on to the next slide. So what has NCIS provided for you this year if you chose Jump Math in your classroom? So if you chose the Jump, you will be receiving student and practice assessment books for your students and also one teacher guide per grade for those schools who ordered the Jump Math in that grade. And those teacher guides will then be cataloged inside in your LCL, and then you'll be able to sign them out and be able to use them. So when it comes to lesson planning with JUMP, as Dr. Mighton said, it is a very scaffolded program, and it moves through from elicited discussions and explicit teaching to practice, 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 which is the scaffolding and building towards assessment, and then having your differentiation and your bonusing. So what does that look like? Each of the lessons are structured in a way that on each page you'll see the title of the lesson. So making 10 to add. This is a lesson that I pulled off from grade 3. And then it has the pages here underneath. Those are your student practice pages and assessment pages. It has your vocabulary. So for this lesson, you'll be working with the vocabulary add-in and addition sentence. It states the goals that you will have in the lesson and also the prior knowledge that's required. Here, it also gives you the materials that you will need for that lesson. This is a lesson in the future, and again, you can see that the vocabulary has increased. And so what we're asking our teachers is that when you're looking at your lessons is that you've got your vocabulary, you've got your materials ready, and then you'll be using your student books towards the end of the lesson as practice and assessment. The key to making your lessons work is to plan ahead, as you all know, and because you're going to need some of the resources and make some of the materials ahead of time. And they are designed in a way that scaffolds on the previous lesson. So it is difficult to just try to pull a lesson out of the binder the day of because they completely build on each other. So when we take a look at the lesson, what are the components of a jump math lesson? So each lesson does start out with a mental math minute. Then next is the modeling portion. And you will see it even states modeling addition sentences using circles and lines. So the way that they're scaffolded, it lets the teacher know when to ask, what to say, and when to prompt. And you will see that I have gone ahead and just highlighted in these areas. So it says, say there are different ways to show how to add two numbers. And it shows you what to write on the board. And it tells what questions to ask the students as you're working through the lesson. Now, I was able to work with a group of grade threes starting off with this lesson with a teacher, and the students were really active participants in this, and they were really excited to know what to do on their whiteboards. So we pulled out some whiteboards and had them draw the circles as well. Then towards the end of the lesson, or you might even have it where you are working through the lesson and you're noticing that your kids might need some practice, you can pull out their student assessment and practice books, and they're used for maybe 10 to 15 minutes. It could be used during or after the lesson, but they really are meant as a way for the students to do that extra practice of the lesson that they've just learned. And so I'm just going to put here that one of the things that you're going to want to do with this is really, really make sure that the communication piece is there for your students as well as your parents, that the student practice and assessment books are meant to work within the lesson itself. So we all have those students where if you give them a quote workbook, they love to sit and do. And so they will take that and they will just scoot ahead inside that book and be done everything before you've even had a chance to teach the lesson. So you may not want to have the students keep them in their desks. They may want to keep them in a bucket or something on the side so that they don't really have easy access to it for those keeners that just want to pull the book out and do math all day. The other thing is that with your parents, I always say it's not a regular workbook where the students are just sitting and doing pages to reflect some of the things that they have been learning. It's that they may only need to do one or two questions to show what they have learned, or they might be a student who is struggling and require that extra practice. Sometimes the pages may be done and sometimes they might not be done. And so that will really help out when you're having those conversations with your students and with your parents. I also encourage you to read through the front matter at the beginning of the teacher guide, as this will really help you set up how to implement Jump Math in your classroom. There is lots of information in there that is shared with you on how to set it up, get your materials ready, put your lessons together so that it is following the scaffolded design. This is one resource that we actually would say you are teaching from unit to unit to unit because of the way that it has been designed. And so there are some things on the correlations that you'll see in the lesson plans in the table of contents that are required for you to teach. And then there are practice ones, or there's optional. So take a look at that, read through, see how it goes for you. And I encourage you to just try it out and try and see how it works within your classroom with your group of students. So again, I want to thank you for taking the time to learn more about how to access and use Jump Math. Please reach out at any time if you need assistance with this new resource, or you're missing something from the resource, or if you'd like to share some of your successes with your class with us. We'd love to hear from you. We encourage you to explore the new curriculum Google site, as there are some great tools for you to use in your planning. And thanks again, and I hope you have fun jumping into Jump Math.